Is it cold in there, Joe?
Do you know, it's all right. It was
Yeah.
cold earlier this week.
Right.
Is that Stan's room? Yeah.
No, it's Joe Martin's room.
It's my room.
I've been having
Stan will come out the toilet in a minute.
I've been having to shower in there, Jez, this week.
All right.
I've been having my bathroom done up.
It's not the worst place in the world, Ben.
No, but I've got to take the wife down there as well. They prefer better than that.
Whoa. So you and Shelley are going in that big shower room?
I had to make sure the door were locked because you know what Eaton's like. He wouldn't miss an opportunity, would he?
Are you not aware about the hidden camera he's got?
Who, Joe? Stan?
Well, I think it's probably Stan. Joe's a clean lad. Clean living.
Got to watch the quiet ones.
Yeah.
Thank you to our 4 sponsors for supporting our podcast. Johnny Russell's Art Caterers and Milltown Pies, Alexander Grace Law, Jez and Lisa's Spoonful of Sweets, and SPE Furnishings. Links to their websites are available in the show notes and on our website. Don't forget to subscribe to get all the latest episodes as soon as they're released.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lowerhouse Cricket Club's podcast. It's the housecast. You see, we've not done it for a long time. I can't even get my words out. It's because of all this wind. It's blowing me around. So we've got a couple of great guests on this evening just to talk us through, last season and then the build up to this season. There's myself and Joe Martin hosting it. The others can't be bothered making an appearance, but I'm sure we'll manage with us two. We'll get through and we'll have a really good show. How's it going, Joe?
Very well, thank you, Jeremy. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah, I've just mentioned there, haven't we, about how windy it is. It's proper blowing a gale, and I think it's going to get a little bit worse. Are you all right? Are you stopping in there tonight, Joe?
I'm gonna.
Yeah,
you're gonna down in the. Do you know I once got trapped in a train station at Liverpool in high wind.
Right. What happened? When you were at uni?
Yeah.
How long were you there for?
5 hours.
5 hours.
But what I didn't realise was it was about 45 minutes to walk back.
And you didn't walk back. You waited for your 5-hour train. No, that's good. That was intelligent of you. You probably did very well at university over there. We've got the couple of things, Joe, I wanted to mention to you. I think Gaz Morehouse might be joining us. He's just got other stuff on at the moment, but he wants to come on and have a catch up. Gav, we were hoping to pop his cherry, his first co-host on this one, but he's cried off. Are you aware of why he's cried off and why Matt Stanley has?
Not privy to anything, Jez.
Well, it's a couple of months ago, but I heard a bit of a whisper that they'd both joined Slimming World. I don't lie. I don't know whether it's actual Slimming World or joining a gym or something where they're trying to get themselves a bit fitter, and I wonder if that's what they've been up to. But anyway, we'll let them listen to it and they can answer it for themselves later on. So how are you wintering, Joe? How's your prep for the season, and how have you gone on since Christmas? We haven't really caught up much.
No. Not a lot's changed, Jez. I've been running every day.
Right.
We had our first net session last week.
Oh, brilliant. That's the indoor nets. Where's that at?
That's at Stonyhurst.
Well.
That was good. I didn't actually do anything, but, everyone else had a good do.
What do you mean you didn't do anything?
I didn't bat or do anything like that.
Right, okay.
And it's too dangerous. I get hit in the nets and it hurts.
You're a soft arse.
Yeah, but...
That's the idea. To get stuck in.
No. So I just sort of liaised with people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, well...
but everyone else played well. There was some good nets that went on.
Right, good. That's fantastic. That's good to hear. Let's see. You'll soon be here. Give it another. Get towards the end of March, and we'll soon be rock and rolling. So let me introduce the guests who we've got on the show today. First of all, we've got the first team captain. One of the best players to come through the ranks at the Lowerhouse Cricket Club. He's played. Right from being a junior with his granddad, never forget it. His granddad throwing balls at him and him smashing them all over the place from being near to a grasshopper. Progressed, went and, a couple of stints at proing and did well. and then come back, and he's doing a fantastic job as our first team skipper. Ben, how's it going, Ben?
Very well, Jez, yourself?
Yeah, it's all fine. Yeah, like I've said, we just want to keep going through the winter when you get to my age, and hopefully you see another spring. I'm sure it'll happen, but then we'll look forward to the cricket. So no, that's good. How's your nets going, and how's your training and your planning for the season?
Yeah, well, we've only just got back into the swing of things. I seem to recall when Eton was running things, he would have us back in there in January, and it was just far too early for my liking. So we train for longer in terms of time now. But the sessions are more spread out over the winter. We've only just had our first one, which went very well, actually. So nobody had really picked up a bat since September. Standards were very good. Fitness levels were good for winter, and enthusiasm was very good as well. So good attitudes. Couple of potential new signings were there, having a hit with us. Not in a position to disclose their names just yet, but we'll see what happens. But that's always good, keeps lads on the toes. Everyone's looking forward now.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's good to hear that. We are looking at recruiting, because obviously the juniors will continue to come through. The really young lads, and they'll progress. It's another 12 months on. That's good to hear. What do you do in boxing anymore, Ben? I remember a few years you did the boxing side of it. Is that going ahead again?
No,
no.
In terms of doing it as a squad, it just got more and more difficult. Society's changed so much these days. Everybody's really busy. Trying to pin people down for sessions at 8, 9 o'clock at night is quite difficult. So no, I do still do some boxing, but I'm just ticking over, looking after myself. Most of the lads are on with something though. I'm sure you've seen Joe Martin running up and down Liverpool Road like an headless chicken.
Yeah, he's non-stop.
And the boxing was dangerous, Jez.
Yeah, well, you were knocking everyone out, weren't you?
Wasn't your favourite, Joe, was it?
No, yet again, I also got hurt at that. Ben once practically knocked me out.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. You're making me sound like a right bully there. You had a body belt on, Joe. You were fully protected.
Yeah. Well, there's videos of it on YouTube. I'm not in a good way.
You've probably deserved it. Ben, thanks very much. That's great. We'll come back in. I want to know about the last season and how you felt that went, and then the build-up and what your thoughts are for going forward. If we introduce the other guest now that's on with us, it's our current professional, played at Lancs Cricket for about 18 years, started there as a junior, went through his club side, toured with England into the West Indies, played international cricket as well. It's Stephen Parry. How's it going, Steve? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Are you?
Yeah, we're all fine. Yeah. Just like we say, let's get through to April. But how's it going through the winter for you? Have you? Because you had some great contracts last year and some good coaching gigs. How's winter gone for you?
Yeah, I've been really, really busy, which has been good. It's been obviously a different time for me in my life. Just transitioning from being a professional sportsman and doing my own coaching and staying in the professional game as a coach. But I've obviously really enjoyed it, and obviously thanks for having me on, and a big thanks to the club for supporting me through that in last year as well. So they're obviously brilliant, and I've been, I'll always remember that. I won't forget that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Everyone's enjoyed watching you play, and it's real excitement getting an English lad playing, coming through and done what you've done and then experienced, in the league. It interests me, Steve, and I'm sure that there's a spectator out there. How did you find it coming into the Lancashire League after playing, you've played a lot of county championship, but a lot of one-day cricket within county? What was the standard like, and how was it for you to adapt to come into league cricket in the Lancashire League?
Well, I have played a lot of league cricket as well, but I think one of the reasons why I wanted to go once, obviously, when I decided to retire, I could have easily kept playing in the Liverpool Comp or the Cheshire League where I wanted to go. But I think because me being a Lancashire lad and, it's a famous sort of league, I've never played in it, and I've got friends who have played in it. Yeah. Sides, I always wanted to experience it. I was sub-pro the odd time, and I just wanted to get back to, because I'm a pretty grounded sort of person, and I just like traditions, and I do like the Lancashire League and the famous pros, and I just wanted something that I always wanted to try and do, even if I'd have played another 5 years. I know I decided to retire, but I think it was definitely on my list to do, and I fully enjoyed it. Yeah,
no, that's great. What did you find? So, where did you play your league cricket prior to going into the county setup? Prior to getting a pro contract?
Well, I started off. I was Denton Cricket Club was my first one in the Lancashire County League.
Yeah.
So I started off there, and then I had a year at Radcliffe when I was 16, and then I left to the Liverpool competition at 17. And I used to get 4 trains. I used to stay at a lad's called James Cole,
Right.
Because I wanted to be a cricketer. I think I wanted to be a cricketer. I weren't quite sure. But the more I travelled, the more I stayed out of trouble. So it was kind of like within reason. So I kind of like started doing that, and then it made me pass my driving test. But I ended up having quite a long time in Liverpool comp, because it was good, because it weren't like one day. It was one day cricket, but it was time. So you managed to figure out ways and had to try and get people out and just play, and it just made you think differently about the game instead of it just being 50 overs and 50 overs. And I think for my development at that time, it was the right decision. But I've got friends all over the county, really, regards to club cricket, and I fully enjoyed it.
That's interesting. That was a Liverpool comp. So, how old were you when you first started playing that? Because that is a tough league, isn't it? With a lot of paid players. So how old were you then?
I was 18, and Northern. We came third in my first season, and the second year we won it, and they never won it before. I had a big part to play in it. That was kind of when I obviously did stuff in the juniors quite well, but that's kind of when I announced myself, really. Just because of my background and stuff like that, and the junior system, it was kind of my time where people stood up and noticed and realised that I was obviously a decent player, and I had a bit of potential. And it was just. But I worked hard. People don't realise you have to work really, really hard. And for me, I see Lowerhouse at the moment, and I said to Stan and Matt and Ben that when I wanted to sign, it excited me because it is a really well-run club with a good reputation, and I always wanted to feel like I contribute. It's not about me at all, not once. It's more about how I leave the club. Because at some point you end up leaving, don't you? I know that sounds a bit miserable right now, but nothing like forever. But I think you've got to leave it in a better place than you came. And I think that's one of my things. And I think the club are kind of, trying to move forward with that. And I'm obviously willing to help. And it's just about trying to blood the juniors as well and get the balance right, because there's some talented juniors. And we know winning's it's trying to get the balance of winning right now and keeping everyone happy, but also getting ready for the next 5 or 10 years once, Ben hangs them up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
I think
a great
it's really,
point.
and it's a really difficult period because they've been a successful club. And there's a lot of love and, and a lot of that around the changing room for all those players. But, I think everyone's on the same page, realising that we've got to get this right so we can stay in the 5th division and compete for trophies every year. So
I mean that's really good to hear that the pro wants to. You've just said leaves the club in a better place than when you came. I don't think I've ever heard that from a professional previously, and that's not to the detriment to them. I think that's a really good way of looking at it and a good attitude. So when you've gone through the Liverpool Com, you're obviously playing a lot of county junior cricket. When did you sign your first contract at Lancs? How old were you then?
I think I can't remember, but I think it was 2005. I got a scholarship. It might have been 2006. I signed my first contract. With full time. So it's been a long journey, but it's gone ridiculously fast. And then you think about COVID and having a year under your belt at Lowerhouse, and it was like, obviously, over, isn't it? And now we're into the second one, and it's just crazy how fast things move on. But at certain times, especially with COVID, it felt like nothing was moving. So
I know, it does, and it's good to get through that period. And like you said, your whole career just seems to pass in front. But what a fantastic career to play in, that standard, and being recognised by England and everything. That almost like a boyhood dream. What would be your abiding memories of that period of your 15, 16, 17, 18 years of being a first class cricketer?
Well, I think it's one of those things. I think until I got my testimonial with the club, and I know that's not been able to get underway pretty much because of COVID, but it was kind of a journey you're on and always wanting more, wanting to be better. Like, if I played 50 games for England, I'd be sat here going, I should have played 100. But you know what I mean? That's always we want more.
Yeah.
When you get that testimonial, you get a chance to look back, because it's like a roller coaster. You're just going with it as well.
Yeah.
As much as the ups and downs, and then it's kind of like, well, you just press pause and go, you know what, I've had a good career, and then you can't feel a bit proud of yourself in a certain way.
Yeah.
But it's really when you're in it and you're doing it, people always say, "Oh yeah, you're doing really well," but you're like, "Yeah, thanks for the support," but you're just thinking, well, what's next? What's the next game? I need to make sure I do well in this, and it's just kind of like I was anyway. I'm kind of a mission, just to win as many trophies as I could. And obviously being part of a fantastic club, and obviously the way I left the club was, me and the club have got a great relationship, and I've seen too many people leave a club like Lancs over the years and not on the best terms, and and that's the same thing I want to do with Lowerhouse, whether it's 4 more years, 10 more years, it doesn't matter. You make sure you're always welcome back.
It is, and it's a good way, because it tarnishes, your career, whether you've played for England or you've played for Lowerhouse Surds. If people leave on sour notes, and I appreciate you saying that about Lancs. I'm sure it's the same at other counties, and that's a good way that you've put it. It's almost like pressing pause, whether it's your testimonial or whether it's end of an amateur's cricket career. That you press pause and you look back and you think, you know what, that was good fun. I did my best. I've done what I can do. That's a good way forward. So, no, thanks for that, Steve. That's really interesting. Let me just throw back to a question. I don't know if you avoided it on purpose or you've just talked about the league cricket. What do you think of the standard in the Lancashire League at the moment? How do you feel that is compared with when you were a lot younger and you knew league cricket back then?
I think it's a good standard. I think it's very competitive. I think the hardest thing is, with it is the conditions. I think if you get, and because of the weather up that way, it makes things really challenging, and it does for everybody. But you've got to find a way, and your good players find a way. And I think, like, I've played in the Liverpool comp for a long time, and I do know that anybody comes to Lowerhouse, that they're going to it really hard to win, especially with the team we have. Like when we went to Ormskirk last year, they went on and won the Lancashire Cup, and I feel like we'd have won that game. So I feel like they're a really competitive team, and we've got some good experience. You see, I think if that was a Lowerhouse team of 10 years ago, it might be a bit different. But now they've got the experience and played in all sorts of big games, big occasions. I think it's a good side, and we came fifth last year, and I felt like we underachieved a little bit. But at times we played some cricket where you think, wow, we can win this league. So and I think it is a good standard of cricket, and I think with the league combining with others, even though it might not be everyone's like cup of tea, I think it's made the league grow quickly. And then all of a sudden, the Lancashire League clubs have realised that they've really got to, be proud about the traditions and getting back in that first division, which is we need more of them back in it. So it's really competitive.
It is. That's a good analogy of it, really, as well. And I do like asking that question, because I played all my career when there was just the same teams you played every year, which were good. You made a lot of friends, and it was very competitive, but it did get stale. Me and Ben have had these conversations before. It got stale without the promotion and bringing the new clubs in. As you said, not everyone's cup of tea, and they have different ideas, but we've got to embrace it. As a league, as a county, it's got to be embraced and work out, for the best, I feel. What do you think, Ben? I know we've chatted about it before, but are you still of the belief that it's, the standard has improved, certainly around, the top amateurs? There's some great players out there.
Yeah, most definitely. I think I've said this on record not too long ago, and this isn't a swipe or a gripe at any professionals in the league at the moment, but, well-known fact that international players don't come over and manage to get into the league anymore because of the sort of circuit and the leagues around the world. Time. So, clubs are having to look at different avenues and different ways of getting a pro in. But I've certainly noticed a shift in the last sort of 4 or 5 years. Now that we're in one, now we're into 2 divisions, and the top division, amateur-wise, man for man, is as strong as ever, I think.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that. I'm looking at, there's some really top class players there that you as a team, when you're planning your games, will be thinking, right, we've got to get that individual out. Whereas, there was obviously players, there was top players when I was playing there, but there wasn't 3 or 4 that you had. If you got, Peter Brown out, or if you got, God bless his soul, Peter Wood, who's just recently passed away. If you got him out at Rottenstall, you think you've got a chance of going through. Where now I do think there is quite a lot more depth. Joe Martin, you've been listening in there. What's your thoughts around where Stephen's done and the way the Ben's handled it? And it's been so difficult because of COVID. The effort has been there massively. What's your summary around Stephen's period and how things have gone within the league?
I think it's been grand.
Yeah.
It's always going to be challenging in that league where anybody can beat anyone. But I think we gave a good account of ourselves through the year. I mean, we probably didn't achieve what we wanted, but I think, as Paz said, there were some really good performances still. I think for next year, we're probably just looking for more consistency than anything else. Rather than, sort of up and down kind of, the opposite of consistency.
Can I just add something to that, please? Sorry, because I'm quite big on this. I think it's trying to find, moving the club forward and trying to find an identity for the team the way we want to play. And then if we do lose a couple, he's sticking to it, because it's so quickly for people to change when you lose a couple. And I think when we first started the season last year, we're all excited and everything, but we didn't have the best start. And I think at times we didn't trust not on each other, but just trust how we wanted to try and play, because it was a new pro. They had the old pro for quite a few years, and I was finding my feet a bit. And I still was at the back end of the season. But I think this year, I think we really found a way how to play away from home towards the back end of the year, and definitely at home. So I think that's the one for us. It's just keeping what we've got at home, but trying to find a way to be harder to beat away from home, and not be scared of doing, sometimes playing not negative cricket, but just smart and patient cricket, and staying in the game for longer, and trying to win it quick. And I think we got that at the end, because sometimes it is difficult. And I think Ben adapted very well, because obviously I think as a captain, I don't know him that well as a captain, but I think he grew more and more through the year, and our relationship got better and better. I think I'm the only one who can say something to him and he won't punch me, so I don't know, it might change next year, because he's known me for a year now, but we'll wait and see. But that thing he says about Joe Martin before, I've seen that video, and it is a special video. You need to show it on this podcast, because it is hilarious. Hilarious. Joe looks like Mr. Blobby. He's like padded up the most.
And he's still faint.
Jez, I can't describe to you how heavy the punch was. It was like Mike Tyson had punched me.
I'm not sure about it.
Did you get knocked out or did you faint?
It was a body shot, Jez.
I lost my feet. I was winded, and I was all at sea.
He had a brick wall around him, and he still went down. I don't get it. It's like I don't know. Is Ben Iron Man or something? Or what? Is he a Marvel character? I'm trying to work it out.
Got very heavy hands.
As Brompton away showed last year, I'm definitely not Iron Man.
You move like it.
But just on the I completely agree with Paz there. I really sort of remember at the start of the season, there was a lot of, and rightly so, but there was a lot of excitement on the back of Stephen. As I've just mentioned about professionals in the league these days, it's not very often that you get to play alongside a former international player. So there was a lot of excitement, myself included, and a lot of nerves as well. And I think very early on in the season last year, we came away, I'm talking about the 10 amateurs out there, we came away from what it takes to win a game of cricket. The fundamentals of the game to win a game of cricket. And we were subconsciously looking in Stephen's direction far, far too much very early on last year, thinking that he's going to do it for us. And cricket doesn't work like that. And it especially doesn't work like that when you're playing in the good league. So we were playing catch right from the off. And I think Stephen's right. We've grown as a group, grown as a side. We just need to remember our methods and hopefully hit the ground running. We've got a tough start fixture-wise, but I'm much, much happier in terms of looking how that start of the season is going to go compared to last season. Because even I was nervous, and I can't really put my finger on why. It's excitement, it's all that combined, and we dropped three or four catches in the first 20 overs against Norden at home. And that's I think.
Yeah, and that's just not.
I think touching on that, I think what it is I think the lads didn't know me, did they? I've just come in really, and no one knew me, so I think they got to know me now, and I'm pretty relaxed. Probably a bit more relaxed than you thought it was going to be, and I don't really point the finger or whatever. I just always about looking at the positives within reason. But if we're not doing the basics well, then I'll shout up and go, lads, come on. Do you know what I mean? And if you don't do the basics well, you've got no chance of winning a game of cricket. Even at test match cricket, if you don't do the basics well, look at the Ashes tour.
Yeah.
You know, really good cricketers there under pressure, not doing the basics well, just because of whatever reason, pressure, you know, trying too hard, then or trying to impress on a big stage or trying to impress a teammate. And if I get 30 wickets and 300 runs and we win the league, I'll be the happiest person in that changing room. And this is what it is. I'm not like, there's a lot of pros that just want to get not out and they want to do this and they want to get that. I'm just like, well, what does the team need from me now? It needs me to open the bowl in and bowl 10 overs and maybe pick one for up, and then we're chasing 160. It's not about, but you know, a lot of the fans and all that are used to, the pros done this and the pros done that. But it's the game's moving on. It's about the team, and we've got a really good team and some good individuals. I think, you know, and that's kind of what I want to imprint on me when I leave the club. Like I don't want people to think, oh, he was great. He could have done better. You always can do better. It doesn't matter what anybody says. If you get 700 runs, people go, oh, he needs to get 900 and we'll win the league. It's actually not true. You know, the times you've won the league, not many people got that many runs. You get bowling teams out as a group, didn't you? You know, and you need to. And so all I can link it to is if you're going to win the league, we need one of us to get 50 wickets and the other two to get 35. And I tell you what, we'll nearly win the league. That's how I look at it. And it's the truth. And if I can get wickets for people at the other end, then I'm still doing my job. Yeah. So.
It is. It's so true, is that, Steve? It's so, you know, you're looking back at pros at our, you know, at our place and at other clubs. We've had pros who get 100 wickets or people who get 1,300 runs. And, you know, we didn't do anything. We didn't win anything. So it's really quite refreshing to hear you say that. And as far as, you know, I watch a lot of the games, I walk around the ground, talking to a lot of people. There is a lot of support there. There's a lot of support for the team. There's a lot of support for you, Stephen. I don't know if you're getting vibes that there isn't, but, you know, the genuine spectators who understand the game are right behind this side. They're excited about the way it's going forward. You know, what happened over the last 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 years before that, when we stopped winning. You know, I personally, and I've gone on record of saying it before, Ben, I thought it got stale those couple of years. So it's so good to see this new, refreshing way forward. And, you know, we will get through it. Ben, when you mentioned the start of last season, we've said this before, the league is so competitive. You do need a good start. And that really bollocks us up last year. We had some really good experienced players. Do you just think you were down to nerves? You said you were nervous. Do you think that's what happened with the whole team?
I think so. I don't know what Joe thinks. Those first 20, 25 overs against Norden, not that they were getting away from us either in those first 20, 25 overs, but I think we just fell into a trap of expecting to just turn up because we've got a former England player as our professional and we're a decent side. We'd come away from earning the right to win the game, and good players were putting catches down, and I can only put that down. Nobody's not going to be concentrating on the first game of the season. You know what I mean? So I can only put that down to a little bit of nervousness, and I think Paz even said that on the day that we're a little bit edgy and a little bit nervous, and just come away from the things that we'd done for 10, 15 years. We're all human, Jez, aren't we, at the end of the day?
Absolutely. And you're all amateurs. No matter how experienced you are or how many runs. Or what did you feel that, Joe, at the time when in that first game?
I think so. One of the, I don't like making excuses, but one of the things that is sometimes also forgotten is that we literally just come straight out of a lockdown as well. So we hadn't done any pre-season training or winter nets or anything like that. We'd had maybe a couple of weeks before the season where we'd met Paz. We'd done a few training sessions with him, that kind of thing, and then we were straight into the game. So you can't sort of like mediate the the nervousness, I guess, because it's there. You know, you start winter nets. I was nervous at winter nets last week, despite not doing anything. You know, but when you get to the season, you're not as nervous because you've been prepping and that kind of. Whereas last season we hadn't had that. We'd been, we hadn't played any cricket, proper meaningful cricket the year before.
That's a good point, that, Joe. We hadn't had any proper competitive cricket for a long while, and then sort of thrust straight back in there against the top side.
And that game, and that game could have gone either way. There was still potential to win it, even when we were 6-7 wickets down, and earlier on in their innings as well. So I think there was some nervousness and a few mistakes, and we all, Christ, if you've watched me keep wicket, there's enough mistakes.
But we certainly moved on very quickly, and I think we played Middleton away next, where we got beat again, and there was definitely less nerves there. We won the toss and batted first on a flat wicket on a lovely afternoon, and got 240, 250. Perhaps we should have got a few more, the position that we're in. But again, I reiterate the fact that we didn't really have good plans in place to bowl Middleton out. Their pro batted well, but I felt again we were just sort of looking to Stephen for answers rather than doing what we do well as a team and building pressure as a team like we did the last 5 or 6 games of the season at the back end. So I make Stephen right when he says, we've sort of grown and learnt a method on how to play away from home at the back end of the season, because, no disrespect to Middleton or any side in the division, but I would back us on most days when we score 250 to go out there and defend it now.
Yeah.
I think just to add to that, Ben, is that the club and yourself were finding, like, you had a different pro, didn't you? So you use your pro in certain ways.
Yeah.
And then we were saying, like, and I'll do anything that you want me to do. I'll bat 9, I'll bat 1, I'll open a bowling. It's just whatever we need at that moment. And I think that's where you've got better yourself, is that you're more receptive to that, because I think sometimes at the start you were coming in and going, I can say this anyway because I'm at my house and you can't knock me out. So
no. Say whatever you want, mate.
He can say, and I think he always used to, at the start when I met him, he'd come to games thinking, this is how I'm going to go about it and this is what I'm going to do. And because of his personality, he's stuck by it, and that's a real stand him in good stead over the years. But I think that's where he's grown over the last 12 months. And meeting me is that it's like, well, mate, we just need to just do something a bit different here.
Be flexible.
Now do that. Yeah. And it's like, and it was really good. I'll just change the field.
Yeah. It's funny you mention that, because towards the end of the season, that's what we were doing. We were chopping and changing the opening bowling partnership a little bit, and it was a little bit more horses for courses, or I was thinking about
who's in the best form, as well.
And who's batting in the middle for them, or who's opening the batting for them, who plays spin well, and all those sort of things. Where's the pro batting for the opposition? When will Paz need to bowl? And we went with it like that a little bit towards the back end.
Do you know what annoys? There's one thing that annoys me in the league, by the way, and it doesn't. I'm going to tell you this. Is when the pros come on. No, when the pros. No, it's nothing about you, Ben. I'm finished on you tonight. I'm not pushing my luck. Is when the pros come on for the last 4 overs and get 4 for, and they're bothered about getting 50 wickets. Like, I want to get 40 odd wickets, but they're all the top 6. And because they want a new contract, it really annoys me, because it's just selfish wanting a new. I don't play cricket like that. And if some pros listen to this and sledge me next year, I'm more than happy to have a conversation about it with them. Like, when the pros in, I want to bowl to them. I want to get them out.
Yeah,
and I don't want to just save me 4 overs and I bowl at the end.
Yeah,
pick up the free for.
You're 100% right.
It does my head in, honestly. I'm going to say this now, and I know all the fans will want me to get a load of wickets.
Yeah,
and I want to, but I want to get them in a different way. I don't want to get them and if I don't get as many as I want, then I've not been good enough, and that's the truth. And I'm happy to hold my hands up like that, and that's how I play cricket. And it was difficult, and I think it really frustrates me. I'm sorry, but it does. Like, you want to be ready for the big moments, and you can't win them all. But if you keep putting yourself in them, that's how you get better as a player, by putting yourself in them. Even if I'm putting myself in a tough moment and I've played a lot of cricket, it still gets me going, and I still want to win that moment. And there's still players that can beat me in that moment, and that's fine because that's sport. But it's just more, it's just more looking at the bigger picture. And Ben has to tell me to stop bowling sometimes when the pros in because I can't get him out, and I want to get him out, and then I have to listen to him. So that's fine. So
that is so. Don't apologise for saying things like that, Paz. It really is quite refreshing. It's good to listen to because, like I said, I've seen so many pros for us and played against them that do exactly as you've said there, and they're planning. They've almost got themselves spreadsheets of where they're getting. What the run rate's about. What the scoring ratio is. When they get people, how I can get certain people out. And I'll go back. Listening to yourself there. When Ryan Harris first pro'd for us as a young professional, that was him. He just wanted to bowl as fast as he could at their best batters and win the big moments. And there were one big moment at Burnley when he ran their pro out, and it was all because he was that committed to doing something different and us winning the game. Once he'd done that and his leg were falling off, he didn't want to bowl. No, I'll leave it to you, lads. Now you can get the wickets and suck up the glory. So no, it's so refreshing.
There was times last year where I thought I could easily just bowl my overs here now and just take my cap and I'm done and I've gone all right. Yeah. But I said no, actually you need to just hold me back or we need to do this or just in case. Yeah. And then someone will come on and get free for an hour, walk off with one wicket, but I'm not bothered. Yeah. I seriously not. And I just we're all happy as long as if we're winning, everyone's happy. Yeah. So and the game plan. Is right. You've done what you've done, and if you don't succeed, well, you've done everything you can, and there hasn't been one person just doing something selfish. I know, and the bigger picture to that, I'm sorry I'm going on a bit here because
no, you're not. It's fine.
About this, right? Is the bigger picture is someone like Toxie or whoever it is, or Paddy bowling his spin. By him bowling these overs all the time, at some point the pro's going to need him as well because I'll have a bad day. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, if they keep missing out on some nice wickets sometimes or easy ones, then they'll do their confidence very good. Then they have to bowl in a big moment and they haven't got a chance of winning them because they had a chance to do it. So it works in different ways. So
it just I'm glad you've said that. I'm glad you've said that, and let the spectators have a listen to that and take it in for when the season starts, and they'll all be behind you. No, I really appreciate you coming to giving that explanation there, Steve. We'll just quickly introduce Gary Morehouse has come on to have a catch up with us. Hiya, guys. Are you all right?
Hey, evening, chaps. How are we doing?
Yeah, we're all very well. We've just had a really good chat through there about the state of the league, the standard of it, and how Stephen appreciates some of the. There are some good players in there. He's talked through his first class career and he's just thankful that he's at home because he just slagged Ben off and Ben were going to knock him out, but he's a long way from him. So welcome on to this, Gaz, and I'm sure you can contribute as we continue through it. So Ben, let's look at this season, the two clubs that have been promoted and the new players that have come in. What's your thoughts about the change? Greenmount coming into the first division. Do you know anything about them?
I don't, Jez. We played them in a pre-season friendly, but I think we put out a bit of a mixed 11 in terms of first team and second team. And I think they did as well, in fairness. The chap who I organised the friendly with was very pleasant to see him, a nice bunch of lads. I've been there with Liberty on occasion for junior games. It's a nice place, nice ground to go to. And they've done very well, haven't they, to come in and get promotion. And from what I can see and hear on the grapevine, they are in the league that they think they should be in now, shall we say. So every credit to them. And it's another one I'm looking forward to and getting to know them and going over to their place and playing a game of cricket there.
Yeah, no, Pro got big runs last year, didn't he? Have they signed him again this year?
I think they have, yeah.
I've played against Greenmount a fair bit over the years. I know quite a few of the lads. They are a good club. And they've always, I had a few Blanche Cup finals when I was at Bootle against them. And I think Zaidi was pro as well. And then they had some people like Andy Kerr and Ryan Senior and the lads who are local. And they are a good team. So they're going to, like last year, Colin was a bit of the whipping boys. I don't think there's going to be any whipping boys next year, if I'm honest.
I think they've had some good pros even before that, haven't they? Because like Matty Hayden and people like that, I think Shane Lee, I think he was there. No, back Shane Lee back in, I'm talking like early 80s sort of thing, I think, late 80s. I think before he came to Enfield, maybe. But yeah, they had some. They had a good history of bringing some, like, particularly Australians who went on to be sort of, well, household names.
Yeah, he has signed. It's like Chesney Hughes, isn't it? He got quite a few runs last year. He's signed again, so that'll be competitive, you know. And it's a decent enough ground. Who's the other side that's come up? I'm just looking for
Aslington, perhaps.
Oh yeah, it is Aslington. Yeah, and they've just announced a new pro, I think, as well, haven't they? Sam Whiteman.
Yeah, I think he's played in the Big Bash. I think I watched him for Perth Scorchers or somebody like that. It's wicket keeper batter, I think.
That's
Is he from Perth?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I know him. Yeah, played against him a lot.
I think he's originally from here, though. I think he's from Yorkshire or somewhere like that.
I think he used to play at Rockingham in Perth. I played against him a few years in district cricket.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy, actually. He's a good player, good lad.
Yeah, Aslington's a good ground to go to, whatever, you know. And Crompton have gone out, haven't they, as well? So I don't think we'll be, you know, there's no major problems there, as they won't miss going over to Crompton, I don't think. As far as, you know, obviously, Ben, you can't give us any details of any potential players that might be coming to us. Have you heard of any players that are going to other clubs? Joe Martin, have you heard of any players going?
You're on mute, Ben.
From us to other clubs, Jez, or?
No, the clubs who have attracted new players.
Wow. Yeah, I guess.
Wow.
You know, but, you know, they signed, so there we go.
I've not been paying too much attention, Jez, I'm going to be honest with you.
No, and we were sat in a meeting where they discussed it.
To players moving around. It's all much of a muchness these days. The league's a good standard and it'll probably stay a good standard. I don't get too worried about who's gone where these days.
And we can't control it either, Jez, you know.
No, I agree. Maybe I'm trying to be a little bit controversial, but it's, you know, if there is new players going, I don't think anything had been announced by the league, has there, with regard to player movement. But that's a great attitude to have, that, you know, what happens. Let's just get on with, you know, with our job. Let's get our squad right. And so, whilst we're talking about the squad, what's your thoughts, Ben, about the younger end of the first team squad from last year? Is there much progress there for those young lads? Are they looking good in the nets? And is there going to be many chances this year, do you think?
Absolutely. I'm very excited about the next crop of youngsters coming through.
Yeah.
And I think if we're being honest with ourselves, whilst, you know, our expectations will always remain high, there is an element of sort of being realistic and realising that the squad's going to be at a bit of a crossroads sooner rather than later. And those opportunities will be on the horizon for juniors pushing through. And I'm pleased that we've got someone like Stephen on board, whilst the majority of that's going to be happening, because like he's just said, he's a very sort of selfless kind of character, and doesn't worry about what his bowling figures are or what he's averaging at the end of the season or what his economy was or looking after his economy, because ultimately all he wants to do is walk off the pitch with the win, and that's really what's keeping me going and looking forward to sort of installing that mindset into the next crop of juniors coming through, really. No, that's good to hear, isn't it? When you look at, you know, the young lads who played in the seconds quite a lot last year, you know, there's 3, 4, 5 of them, and again, it's just, you know, I remember you coming through and all, you know, they come in waves, don't they, these players? So it is so good and exciting to watch. What about your uncle? Is he preparing himself, dusting off his old boots and getting himself ready? Yeah. He was at Nets the other week and hit a few balls. He looks in reasonable shape, I think. Joe, don't you agree?
Yeah, certainly. I threw some balls at him. Look grand. Yeah, do overarm next week.
Brilliant. So, as far as the training goes, the nets are so important, the indoor nets, and you, just because of the area of the country living, to get outside is nigh on impossible before, certainly, you know, the week or 2 weeks before the season starts. Will you be upping the physical side of the training for the lads, Ben? How will that work?
Yeah, honestly, Jez, I'm not sort of knocking your era, shall we say, but I think you'd be, if you came and watched the session for 2 hours, you'd be pleasantly surprised at the intensity and the fitness of the majority of the squad and the way things are done. I'd like to think are a fairly good standard for an amateur side. This includes fielding drills, some good intense nets, and then quite a bit of sprints and fitness work at the end, which everybody participates in.
Yeah. But you still go to the cattle market for 6 pints afterwards, don't you?
Well, like my memories of the very early days, Gary, are just sort of having a muck about at Thompson Centre and seeing Stan piss about, and not what we expect from ourselves anyway, shall we say?
Excellent, quite right too.
Let's talk it through, Gary. I think you'll find. I include you in this, that we kept ourselves, and I know it's just about me and you, relatively fit. We'd be playing football during the winter, so we'd turn up. But there were some occasions where you can imagine, we can mention names, Nicky and Stan and Matt was still young then. We'd turn up and we started to try, I don't know if Gary were captain, or we started to try and have outdoor training at the club. And it was pitch black. And what we would try and do, you try and either go in the clubhouse and maybe do some sit-ups or press-ups. And then we'd go for a run round Rose Grove. And it just got worse and worse as each evening went by. We're trying our best. And Stan refused to come out one evening because it was raining. He said, I'm not running around there, it's raining. And that's what you're up against at the time.
I can imagine.
It was him. And then, it brings me on to the those.
I think there were a player revolt after we insisted on bunny hops on grammar school playground, didn't we?
That's right.
A length at playground, bunny hops, and that finished Matt off, and he just whipped everybody else up. So we ain't coming again.
That's it. So me and Gary turned up for the next one, and there were only us two there, so we sacked it as well. That was it for that season. It wasn't, but it's funny really when you look at the different press cuttings that are out there now. We'll not do it now, but for the listeners in future, we're going to have a new type part of the podcast where we're going to look at old press cuttings. And there's the one where, how did they refer to him as? Little Stanley or Young Stanley?
Yeah.
Young Stanley Eaton.
Young Stanley Eaton. The ventriloquist doll.
Yeah, and a big write-up. So what we'll do in future, listeners, is we'll give you the heads up at the start of the podcast of what we're going to talk about around the press cutting. It will be on Twitter. It will be on the website. So if you feel you want to get involved and listen to what we're going to talk through around that cutting, it could be quite amusing. Myself and Joe Martin are trying to devise the best way of doing it. It's difficult on audio products to have a visual product, but if we can try and do it, then we will try and manage it.
I think our club historians are doing some sterling work dredging these articles up, aren't they? Finding these old clippings and stuff, so it should be real good fun.
It's quite. You'll remember it, Ben. Even you are still a whippersnapper, but they used to on Monday nights in the Evening Telegraph, there would be a write-up for each game.
Yeah,
you look at these cuttings, and there's a full page for every game. That Joe Waterworth story where we played at Colne and they didn't have any bails, and it went to a full exec meeting that the results will have been null and void. And there's a full article on it. So we are going to try and drag those up because unfortunately, Nigel Stockley does a fantastic job, but it just doesn't happen now like it used to. So we'll try and pursue that. So Ben, things are looking. You clearly, three of you, the players that are on this podcast, are massively positive, and things are looking good in the way that you're building up to the season. Is there anything else you want to add around the season? Which is forthcoming. Or are you happy you've got everything across to the spectators and how you're anticipating the start of it going?
Yeah, well, everybody knows down at the club how I try and play my cricket. We'll be going out there to try and win every game. As we always do, step by step. But we will, at the right times throughout the season, be looking to blood some youngsters as and when, and give opportunities if we see fit. And I think the spectators have got to bear that in mind. If we go through a sticky patch, shall we say? But I'm very excited looking at the future, certainly at the next 3 or 4 years, like Stephen's mentioned about leaving the club and the squad in a better place.
Yeah.
I still hope to be playing and be leading, of course. But we'll always be aiming for silverware. But the future's looking bright as well, and we're always looking to add some quality to that. It's got to be the right player or at the right age. So we'll see what happens over the next month or two. But if we do add anybody, they'll be at an age where all their best years are in front of them.
Brilliant. No, that's good to hear. Stephen, I want to ask you about your coaching and how that's gone over the last couple of years, what badges you're getting. And then if you could also just finish off, about next year and the season and how you see that developing and moving on from what you've said there. So where are you up to now with your coaching badges in first class cricket, Steve?
Oh, well, I'm just working through them, but I think it's more the experience and the learnings I'm getting off working with people like Craig White and Paul Shaw at the moment. And I mean, stuff, obviously, I work with Libby Heap. I don't know if you know her, but I work with her. She's a talented cricketer in the women's game, and she's doing well at the moment. I'm obviously trying to not get punched off Ben now, so I'll have to say some good stuff about Libby. So I'm trying to claw it back. So, and then I don't want Shelley Schumacher on my case as well. So on a serious note, the experience, I think you could easily, I feel like I'm lucky to go and work with the funder straight away, which is part of Lancashire. So I'm still driving in there a few times a week where I've been, what I know. But I think everyone will always want to go in the men's game when you come out of the men's game. And this just appeared to just land on my doorstep. And I'm really glad I've done it because I feel like it's made me a better coach working with the girls because, your communication has to be key. You know what I mean? For example, if I say to my missus, I'm going out tonight and I'll be back at, like that, that sort of thing. You actually have to tell the girls, like, if you're there, you're there. And you have to make sure you do it right or they have you. It's like having... it's like having 21 of my wives at some point, so you've got to make sure you do things right, which is great because they make, you've got to do it for her and you've got to make sure that they're well. But there's more all the other sides of it, working with the girls and the communication, as I've mentioned, and your people skills is key. So I think that's been a really good learner for me.
Brilliant.
And obviously I've worked with 100 ball last year, which I don't really want to talk about because I ended up missing the final last year. So, and I was absolutely gutted about that, by the way. And I was so glad we won. But it sounds like that pro coming in did a good job. So it's a good job I weren't there.
It might have been a different game if you'd have been there. It might have been complete. We'd have won it without all the panicking. But there's so many, to get into that girls to the women's cricket, there's so much talent there now as well. There's so much to develop and to nurture, and it must be great for them to see pros.
It's a bit like if you compare it to Lowerhouse, it's like the pool of the girls in the funder squad is not massive for talent. So the stage that we're at as well is trying to grow that pool. So it's more competitive for more players, and then if they instead of them, and then if you can grow that pool, then you can. When the girls don't play in the funder first team squad, they're playing against better girls in the area and stuff like that. Instead of it just like for example, when I didn't play for Lancashire, I missed out on a team. I'd go and play in Liverpool Comp and bowl for 25 overs, and it's decent standard, and you're getting some decent cricket. A bit like if I was at Lowerhouse now, I'd know I'd get me 15, 16 overs being a pro if the rules were different, and then you're playing some good cricket. So you keep it in. It's all competitive. I think there's such a big difference from the funder stuff to what plays next. I think that's where the girl, as much as there's money's involved in the girls, that's where for me the biggest area needs to grow. So then they're playing better cricket all the time. But that's not happening overnight.
Of course it isn't. No.
But this is what we're on. We're on that sort of mission, and we keep saying it's a 5-year thing, but a 5-year thing isn't then that squad winning every trophy, winning every game. It's growing it in all different areas where I feel like. I think that's kind of Lowerhouse isn't like that, but I think we're pulling the juniors and making sure it's it's already a great place. But it's still like as soon as you're not trying to make somewhere better, you're failing for me if you're not thinking that way. So it's just trying to work that, and it is difficult because they just need time to play. So, how can I give someone like Libby? Libby's 17. Oh, she's 18 now, isn't she, Ben? She's 18, isn't she? Yeah. So Libby's 18. By the time I was 13, I probably played more cricket than Libby than she will do when she's 27.
Yeah.
Because it's absolutely crazy, really. And I weren't open to all this till I started working in the environment, but I was never anti girls cricket because I've got 2 daughters myself, and I just want the best for them, and it makes them happy and they love it, even though they have the odd wobble here and there. But don't we all when you fail in sport? So
of course you do. So who else are the coaches now at Thunder? There's
Paul Shaw,
yeah,
who is the head coach. I'm kind of like the spin specialist, even though I don't spin it, but don't tell anybody. And then we've got Craig White does fastballing, but we all dip in with the batting, and Paul Shaw does the wicket keeping as well. So it's a nice mix. And Cookie Patel comes in, who's worked a lot with England, does the fielding. So the girls are in it. They've got some good coaches around them, and I think it's just a matter of time before we get in where we want to get to. But it's just time. You can't push time. So
Jez, just to put things into perspective in terms of the girls' game and where the young girls are at. Yeah. Liberty come home from training. Obviously, she knows who Paz is because I think Paz was signing for Lowerhouse just as he started with the Thunder. So that relationship naturally occurred via myself, and she knew who he was. But she come back one night saying, "Yeah, Chalky was throwing balls at me," and I was like, "Who's Chalky?" "Oh, I don't know his real name." So I thought, right, I'm going to have a look who's on the email trail for when training is. It's fucking Craig White. I'm like, are you for real? The bloke's played Ashes cricket, played for England God knows how many times, and you don't know who he is. You just know him as Chalky. Like, that's
a great player. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, honestly, he's an absolute beauty of a bloke. I love him to bits. He's absolutely brilliant. He's got a great way about him. Me and him have hit it right off in regards to that. And I think that's what's made my transition from deciding to retire, because I did have some offers to go and play cricket elsewhere. But at that time, I was having some bad times with my son, so I just wanted to spend more time at home and thought it's time to put my family first. But I think having him there and Shawsy and the club Lowerhouse, the way they were with me, I think it's just made things a lot smoother than it's supposed to, I think, at times. So I'll always ever be thankful for that for Lowerhouse. So I know I've only played 1 year there, but I'm not just saying this because I'm on the podcast, because I'm a pretty truthful bloke and I speak my mind. And I think I have really enjoyed it, and I've loved the fans, and I've loved the atmosphere at home games. And I love how passionate they are about the cricket and the club, because that's how I felt about Lancashire. Because I was saying to Ben the other day, we're talking about doing some things within the squad, and I said I can't put passionate down. I can't say I'm passionate about Lowerhouse yet because I've only had 1 year there. But if I have 3 or 4 years, I can easily see it coming that way. It's easy for me to say that about Lancashire because I spent my whole life there, so it becomes part of the furniture. So, but I've absolutely loved every minute of it, and the lads are great, and I really enjoy how they're all local and they've stuck together. So it kind of reminds me of our Lancashire squad being local when we won the championship and the T20, and there's a core group of us. And when you win something, it is extra special than you having guys just coming in for 1 year and going out for a year and stuff like that. Obviously, Johnny Whitehead's left, which is a shame. But I would imagine he'll be back again at some point. It is a shame because he is one of the lads and he's a super lad. And it would have been nice for him to hang around for a bit, but he decided to do something else, and we all wish him well. So I just think, the door will be there for him when he comes back, and he'll just slot back in. But, it is a real shame he's left, and I was gutted because he's a good lad and he's got a lot to offer. But I still feel like he wants to he's younger than you think, and he wants to experience some different things, and I don't blame him. So
yeah, and he's dafter than you think as well. And no matter how daft he behaves, he's even dafter than that.
He's great.
Yeah, he is. He's good fun. No, he's good fun. We've known him since we were born, really. And it's really nice of you to say those things, Paz, about the way that we've all grown up together, and we're all proud of it. We really are proud. If we'd have won a league or a cup, certainly one of the first leagues or cups, because we brought 4 or 5 new players in and certain individuals got left out, then it just wouldn't be the same. We wouldn't be as we are. Me and Gary played in sides that were extremely poor. But we enjoyed it. The wins were celebrated, and the team, the players that were in the team had played there for years and all come through the juniors, and we've had waves of different, sections of players coming through. So I really appreciate that you've noticed that.
I think the club are starting to get to know what I'm like, and it is a bit probably is a bit different to what they've had before, personality wise. Irrelevant of the cricket, I think the personality and the person's key. So it's just I think they've not seen the best of me yet as well. So I think that's going to come, because I'll be more settled and know what the league's about now. Yeah. And for me, tactically, I'll know what we'll need to do together to try and win. So we go to Walston away, and I'll be thinking how we're going to win this game. It won't be, the easy fix is that I can get 106 for. That's what everyone might hope, or Ben get. But I'll be like, no, we can get this off him and him off it, and then collectively we can do this, that, and that, and that's the key. That's the key of winning the league. If I got 1,500 runs and 100 wickets and we come 6, I won't be happy. So it's kind of what it is. So I just think it's people putting their hand up at the right times to win games of cricket, and I think that's where I'm hopefully going to try and, not that the players aren't there, but hopefully that's what they'll start to see more of. And then when that person does stand up, it's like really enjoying that moment with them, or that partnership, and really enjoying it after the game, and making them feel a real part of that team and the club, which they do, but even more so, getting them out at the end of the game, even if it's 5, you celebrate it like it's like someone getting 70 and out.
Because you've won the game for them.
Because you've got to be there at the end. So they're massive, massive things, because you need to count on every single player throughout the season.
Yeah. It is, what you're saying there is a real, breath of fresh air, and I'm sure the fans will see the same going forward. Joe Martin, have you anything before we start summing up and rounding things off? Have you much to add?
No.
I've got one question for Joe before I go.
Yeah, go on.
Joe, who's the best spinner you've kept to?
Joe Beneducci.
It's Joe Beneducci, without a doubt.
Yeah. I thought that would be the answer.
You're so full of shit. Joe Martin, go on, seriously though, spinners that you've kept to, even not at Lowerhouse. Me and Gary know about the Corrie year when Chipping were wicket keeping. So go on, what's your?
Well, I really struggle wicket keeping to spin. Absolutely useless. I've got no idea where it's going, what it's going to do. Majority of balls just hit me.
Joe,
I think
you just watch the ball, mate.
It
hits me in between my eyes. I think amateur-wise, I'd probably say it's Pat.
Fuck off.
He's genuinely very good, and the only amateur spinner we've got. But he's a good bowler. Paz is definitely up there. In terms of pros, I did keep to Jalak Khan. I had no idea what was going on. I think there were about 16 buys that game. Blez kept shouting at me because he had to chase them from fine leg.
Jez, in all honesty, I think he's doing himself a massive injustice there. It's not an easy job, and Paz is out there bowling spin, but bowling it quicker than most that Joe probably's kept against in his whole career, and things when Paz is bowling happen quickly, and it's not easy. It's something that we're all looking to get better at, is supporting Pazza in the field and behind the wickets and in the slips. And I'm sure we'll do much better this year. But, I don't think we've let Pazza down drastically, but we can certainly get better.
We didn't have many chances though, Paz, actually, when I look back.
On yourself? You didn't get hand on him, that's why.
If
you don't get hand on it doesn't count, does it?
No.
Johnny Whitehead kept dropping him at slip, that's why.
Strategic positioning to make sure that there's a lack of.
None of you have let me down. It's all let's stay positive, eh? Season hasn't started yet.
Yeah, just bowl it slower. Then I've got a chance. Give me an underarm.
I hate going for him.
I think that Jez. I want to get wicket to a lad at Lancashire called Moabid. It was a leg spinner.
Oh, I know him. Yeah,
he was
from Ashton.
Yeah, he was good. I come on to court one in between my forearm and I can't really say bicep because there's not really one there, but upper arm. And it lodged in my arm. I didn't get a glove on it, and it was out.
I can tell you one person, Jez, who don't think much about Joe's keeping.
Go on.
Patrick Martin. He don't half serve up some bollockings when we're out there. Am I right, Joe?
It is accurate, but I think it's fair as well. I drop a lot of catches off it and miss stumpings. I just the ones that go through, right-handed batter, through the gate.
Yeah, and I like it when you're sort of looking at your left hand like there's an hole in your glove.
I think you're being harsh on Joe. Yeah,
I honestly don't, Jez. I think it's really accurate against the off spin. Do you know I'm all right with left arm spinners usually, but with the off spinners, to left-handers it's fine. I think.
You sure?
To right-handers, yeah. To right-handers for the off spin, good luck.
Good luck. Right, if we have a round up, Ben, anything you want to say just for the last comments before we close the podcast?
No, just finish off really to Lowerhouse fans far and wide. The evenings are getting a little bit longer now. And the sun's up in the sky for a touch longer, and it's not far away, and we'll be out there before you know it, giving it our all like we always do.
Brilliant. Gary, I know you were late coming in, but we're going to carry on with the podcast. We're going to do more, one a week now, hopefully, to the start of the season. Anything you want to add in, or anything that you wanted to add before we finish?
No, all looking forward to a new season and all that anticipation and everything else, and hearing people getting revved up for it. It's good news.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Joe Martin, we've heard enough from you for how negative you are about your wicket keeping. You're a good keeper.
I had to have one-to-ones again last year.
It doesn't matter.
I hadn't had one-to-one since I was 12.
Listen, Paddy Martin bowling.
I'm available, Joe.
Your brother bowling round the wicket, pitching it on middle and leg or leg, and you're not seeing the ball. You've not seen it since left his hands. So
I don't have my eyes open, to be fair, Jez. So
yeah, all right, I'm trying to help you. Paz, anything you want to add before we close the podcast down?
No, I'm just looking forward to the season, and I think I always feel like how the club has helped me, that it'll always be a special place for me, and I think I owe my debt. And this year, I wanna how they supported me coming out of the game. I really want to enjoy this season, and now my life's getting a little bit more back to normal in regards to stability and stuff like that coming out of the game. And I think hopefully they'll see the real me this year, which I think they get the idea what I'm like. But I want to enjoy more time at the club and be there more and stuff like that.
Brilliant.
Obviously, it's hard balancing my jobs, but
of course it is.
We'll work it out together. So but thanks. But it'd be nice seeing 100 people every week there. Support the club. Even the supporters keep coming every week, get more and more there, because the crowd are great when they're there, especially the ones on the terrace.
Once they start, certainly once they're a gallon in.
Absolutely brilliant, and that's why I love it as well. The fans are really passionate about winning, so it's great.
Yeah, it is. It's fantastic. Paz, it's been a real pleasure getting you on and listening to the way you feel about the game. I didn't really realise the way you felt about it and how you wanted to be, part of that winning mentality, and it's all a team game. So that was really refreshing. I really appreciate you saying all those things. Ben, again, thanks very much. You're doing a sterling job. One of the most difficult jobs in sport, never mind in cricket, is being a club captain. It's you've so much to do. There's so much pressure on you, and you're the opening batter, etc. So keep going, keep sticking with it. We're all there for you. We've said this to you before. If you ever need chats, you ever need little 5 minutes away, there's lots of people that would listen to you. So many people have got so much time for you. So thanks very much, Ben, for contributing what you've done and for coming on this podcast. Again, to all the listeners, we'll be producing more and more of these as we go through into March, getting ready for the season. I don't really understand it all, but if you can like it, if you can follow, if you can subscribe, everything else, you get the episodes sooner, and pass it on to your mates, and we'll continue to bring these podcasts to you, and hopefully you can have a laugh and a joke as much as we do. So thanks everyone for listening. Go on, Paz.
Just to finish, if I'm not available for the first game of the season, Ben's probably punched me after tonight, so I just thought I'd leave it on that.
That's right.
All right.
Straight round.
All right.
Yeah, you're getting that in.
All the best,
Thanks,
everyone.
Paz.
All right,
Yeah,
see you later.
Cheers.
Gordon, send Morehouse to save the house.